Now, I'm going to put about 4 candles on this cake, covering the last 8 weeks with respect to the history of Mr. Carl Matthews. Now, before I get started, I'm going to show you an Ebony magazine dated June of 1960. And the article that I'm going to just mention to you is What Sit-ins Mean in America by Mr. Lerone Bennett. Now, the only thing that Mr. Lerone Bennett mentioned in this article that may have given some idea as to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, was the fact that Wake Forest College students were challenging their Board of Trustees on the decision to bar black people from attending the college. But nothing else was mentioned about the fact that Winston-Salem, as of May 25th, 1960, was the first city in the South to desegregate lunch counters. So, now, I'm going back into a little more documented history. In 1944, in the 79th Congress, freshman Congressman Adam Clayton Powell stood up in the midst of a meeting in the House and attacked Mr. John Rankin, a congressman for Mississippi, for using the word nigger. 7 years later, you know, Mr. Matthews did the same thing down here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. From that point on, Adam Clayton Powell was resented and denounced by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And as some of you may know or not know, Adam Clayton Powell is responsible for a lot of us going to college today because he had something to do with most of the education bills. Okay, now, quoted Chief Counsel, Thurgood Marshall, NAACP, November 5th, 1959. This is in the U.S. News and World Report. He was speaking to students at Princeton University. He called the Nation of Islam a bunch of thugs, organized from prisons, financed by Arabs, and a threat to law enforcement. Now, my response to that, I don't know if the present people know anything about that statement, but we know the Million Man March, we know who established that reality. And I don't think any of these people should even criticize Clarence Thomas because he has never made a statement like that about his own people. You know, Booker T. Washington warned us about speaking ill of our own. So you understand why it might be a Mark Furman in California today. Maybe all the law enforcement agencies think that all of our youth are a threat to them. April 10th, 1960. This is from the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. There was a meeting of clergymen, black clergymen, NAACP. Reverend William Holmes Borders said that he would drive the Muslims from the city of Atlanta if he had the people with him to do so. Reverend Gardner C. Taylor suggested that the white law enforcement should kill all of the Muslims. Now, that's all I have to say. I don't really mean to do anything but establish the presence of a clean glass. And I would like to say this: if you truly have the knowledge of yourself and you're in the reality of what the acronyms NAACP actually stand for, the organization has been very much in order with its name, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And I'd like to end this statement by saying that W.E.B. Du Bois, who founded the Crisis magazine in 1910, When he left the NAACP, he apologized to Marcus Garvey and Booker T. Washington, because everything that they have opposed is what we need today. So if they're going to take credit for all the successes, they have to take credit for what we have existing in our communities today. We're going to put the call-in number up, and I'm going to more or less freelance today, and I'm just going to say that this has been a wonderful experience for all of us to be in the presence of one who covers the judgment. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that we had a living God, one that can agree with us, one who looks favorably upon the truth. Carl, thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you, thank you.
Whatever you would like to say, we're honored. I just wanted to verify the facts. You know, you were not the Lone Ranger, but you're the one who came to the top to bring this truth to light.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to say, let everything that breathes, praise the Lord, praise the Lord.
That's right.
I'd like to thank you. There's much history that would have never gotten to the forefront had it not been for you. I offer my sincere thanks to you and your family, your beautiful wife, your loved ones, because I think that they have a wonderful man in their midst.
Well, I would like to say it is us.
Thank you very much.
We.
There are some people who have sustained me through the years, and I'd just like to say hi to them. Many times I was stuck in the Lodi, didn't know how I was going to move or make it from one day to another. Mm-hmm. And I have some very dear friends. First, Mrs. Sharon Rucker, very dear friend. Her mother, Mrs. Frances Jefferson, dear friend. Helena, and my little shadow, Alexis McCullough. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Some friends throughout the years, Miss Virginia King, Pat, Georgia, my brothers, Curtis, Eddie, George, and my wonderful son-in-law. In fact, last week, you told me you had a little surprise for me, and I was watching the door for my grandson to make an appearance, and my grandson was on the screen. I didn't even recognize him. So I'd like to thank Carly.
Yes, sir.
And his mother, Cornelia, and of course my mother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's some people that I just had to mention their names because
this is justice, and this is what we want to establish in the judgment.
Yeah, I've had 36 years of struggle. I mean, really struggle. Nobody knows if they haven't walked in my shoes, and I doubt whether anybody will walk in my shoes.
Yes, sir.
For 36 years, it's been tough, but God has brought me through.
Yes, sir.
And again, I want to thank you, and we can go on and get into the meat.
Well, Carl,
the meat of what we're going to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can contact me down here at the studio, 725-6676, if you would be interested in inviting Mr. Matthews to speak to your group. Mr. Matthews, it is an honor for us to be able to verify this history, because this is the beginning of a new day, I believe. This is the beginning of a new day, because the same things that you have suffered from, our youth are suffering from the same thing today. And they need to hear from you with respect to maintaining their strength, and at the same time, we don't want to get to the point where we hate ourselves. We want to understand ourselves. You understand those people now that opposed you? You understand their history? You understand who you are and who they are today?
Well, there's quite a bit of understanding that has been derived through 36 years of struggle. One thing I say, if you don't have nothing that you're willing to die for, then you don't have anything to live for. In 1960, we found something that we were willing to die for. Many people never find that. And we found that
few are chosen.
We found that in 1960. There's another thing that we learned in 1960, that you must judge a man by the man and not by the cover of his book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a caller, Carl. Go ahead, caller. Speak up, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'd like to know why it is that you present yourself in the image of Michael Farrakhan, and that you try to look like him, act like him, speak like him, and just all mannerisms be like him. Why can't you just be yourself, and instead of trying to imitate Michael Farrakhan, who I don't have much respect for anyway, but can you answer that?
Well, sir, there are 4,400,000,000 people on the planet. And I just showed you a roll-in, maybe you missed it, of the people who produced me. And I look like those people. And I was in the same classroom under the same teachers as my brother, Louis Farrakhan. And so I think you need to look at yourself, because I am being myself, and I'm pretty sure you're being yourself. And I don't have anything against your being yourself, because I know you're pretty good. So have a good day. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, brother.
Well said, my brother. Well
Thank
said.
you, sir.
Yes. I think that we have come to a point where, as I just finished saying, judge a man by the man and not by the cover of his book. And I think that many people should study that little saying, because every man should be judged by what he projects and what he is.
Yes, sir. And the Quran says that, you know, you should read your own books. Surely it is sufficient as a reckoner, you know, your deeds. Go ahead, caller. Thank you very much for calling.
Hi, Kareem.
Yes?
This is Nellie. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you today?
All right. I just wanted to call and say that last caller projected the fact that he was a moron because he can't even get Louis Farrakhan's name right. I kind of admire for you for not ragging on his stupidity there.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying to carry myself upright as a civilized human being on the planet Earth and respect everybody, and hopefully everybody will respect me.
That's true.
Those are
I just
my
figured-
instructions.
I figure maybe next time he wants to insult somebody, he ought to try to get the names right, huh?
Well, you know, I guess so, but I appreciate the fact that there's someone out there that would, like yourself, who would witness the best of behavior.
All right. Well, listen, you have a good show, and look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
and you
see
have
you.
a very good day.
All right. You too.
Okay. Carl, what would you tell the young people? Say if you were invited to speak to young people, either audience, white or black, in today's life, what would you say to them?
First of all, I'd like to say to never lose sight on your dreams. Strive to be the type of person who never defends wrong. Apply the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. To put your priorities in proper perspective, and pray, 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 pray every step of the way.
Yes, sir. And that has life in it. What are your thoughts concerning, is there any bitterness that you have? You had some for a long time. Do you still have it?
There's no malice. I want no vengeance, because vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He can take care of business much better than I ever could think to take care of business, you know? Yeah.
We have a caller. Go ahead, caller. Thank you very much for calling.
Yes. I'd like to talk to you about the 12 tribes of Israel, the black tribes. Maybe you can give me more info, my brother, of what I'm talking about.
Well, you can come on and have a program and teach about what you'd like to teach about.
Oh, thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too.
Now, what I gathered from studying all the information that I had anyway, and it's your interview and your history that took me back to books that were given to me when I was a child. I used to read U.S. News and World Report when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. I saw, you have made me to see that there was a concerted effort, and it's always existed, to not give credit to whom it is due. And the very thing that we're hollering for and clamoring for today in our community, justice, hasn't really been given. During those years that you were aware of the things that were taking place, were your thoughts concerning that? Did you feel as though you were not being given justice?
Well, there are many instances where I knew that I had not been given justice. But I am an American, and I believe that justice is always on the way, because the preamble to the Constitution, it goes, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice."
Yes, sir.
The first thing, establish justice.
Yes, sir.
It may take some time, but justice will be established. So even going through hardships and going through chaos, I never lost the faith that right would prevail over wrong.
Yes, sir. Now, what do you think about integration progress or regret?
Well,
with respect to your own personal history?
Well, integration, progress, or regret, I would never want to go back to where we were.
Which won't happen anyway.
No, it won't happen. No, it won't happen unless America intends to be turned upside down. But I would never want to go back to where we were, because I would not want my children or my grandchildren or your children or your grandchildren or any of the members of our race which we call a race or our domain or whatever you want to call it. I would not want them to experience the pains of segregation, humiliation, and degradation. As far as the regret is concerned, as I said last week, I regret that many of the people who could have been a great asset to the progress of black people, these people have obtained positions and they have used these positions for their own gratification and for the exemplification of their families and their loved ones.
We have a caller. Go ahead, caller. Speak up, please.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
All right, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. This Carlson, I just wanted to call and let you know I'm watching your show.
Thank you, Carlton. How'd you do on the test?
Say what?
How'd you do on the math test?
Oh, I ain't got my scores back yet, but I'm going to get them on the 4th or before.
Okay.
Good to see you on there, bro. You're looking good now.
Thank you very much, Carlton, and I'll see you next quarter.
Okay, my brother.
All right, then.
Have a blessing.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So we're not going back. Now, in recognizing that personal ambition has exceeded civic and human responsibility and community obligation, what are your thoughts concerning changing that around? How would we go about changing that around?
I think we're doing right now what needs to be done. We're discussing the
Yes,
situation. We are facing up to some of our deficiencies, and we're putting them out there so that the people can see them and evaluate them and come to a conclusion that we must get busy and get rid of some of the things that have caused us to sort of tread water for many, many years. I would like to read one thing out of your book, if I might.
Okay, brother, let me get this call.
All right,
first.
sure.
Go ahead, caller. Thanks for calling. Speak up, please.
Good evening, Kareem and Carl. I would just like to say AAP magazine has been extremely informative and enlightening as it has always been. Please disregard those who lack knowledge, intelligence, and are ignorant to the history of what you are presenting. Have a good evening, and thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Carl,
Thank you so much.
We got 1 minute. Go ahead and run it down.
This is out of Integration, Progress, or Regret, Po Me, by Kareem Allah. No society can avoid destruction that gives more honor and money to athletes and entertainers than it gives to its teachers, its engineers, and its scientists. So well said, my brother.
Thank you very much.
So well said, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, crew. Thank you, all the viewers. Look for your next season, October 9th, 5:30. Have a very good day. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you, brother.
Thanks to your wonderful crew.
Yes, sir, brother.
They're wonderful people. I love them all. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.